Okay, so have a nice day, everybody. I just wanted to set your expectations that this video is actually about the grading calculation. I wanted you to be aware how are we able to create their grades so that you will really know why some of the students will not pass. For example, if you certainly have failing grades so that you can just calculate your own grades, for example. So you can just definitely know that we do have the class standing as 40% and exams as 40%. And we also do have the project as 20%. So this is how we're able to calculate those grades that you do have. So that is overall 100% then. Now into your class standing, under this one, that is consist of the quiz and your activities. So before, I've actually calculated 30 and 10 of 30 for quiz and activities 10%. However, right now I've changed that already. The allocation is 25% and 15% for activities. So here, the activities includes the laboratory activities if you do have laboratories or reporting or such board work or whatever. And then especially if we're able to give extra scores for such activities like CIT Family Day, CIT day or U week or what kind of activities that we are trying to um give some extra points. And of course, under my supervision, I've actually asked you to create a journal activity for me to really be able to give you a specific deserving scores that you must have. So this is can be totaled with 40% still. And under your exam, make sure that you will really do your best with your examination. And the once you've reached the what they call this one, the passing score. So of course you do have the passing score already. At least we've half of this, and project will be 20%, so make sure that you can comply pertains to your projects then. So I'll begin to give you the breakdown and how we will begin to deal with that through the Excel format. Let me just pause for a while. All right, so I'm sharing my screen right now. I do hope that you can definitely see it. So I have here the Microsoft Word and the Excel that I'll begin to run through later on. So say for example, we do have the students here, um, Maria, Mercedes, Labubu, Lababa. So Bonga. Okay. So those are the students. And we do have the activities. First, we'll have the class standing, for example. So under class standing, we can make sure, for example, let me just move this first. Okay, this is for the class standing section. And under class standing, we do have the quizzes. So this is quiz one. Say for example, um, we also do have quiz two, Um, and we are how many quizzes that you do have, we are just accumulating everything. So for example, we do have three quizzes. So what will be the total? So the total items of quiz will be 50 points. And here then we can say 80 points, and we can also say 100 points for our quizzes. So in our quiz equivalent, you can say the quiz equivalent. So please be aware that for the quiz equivalency, the calculation pertains to that is if you are not aware of how we're able to allocate that, we were able to, let me just set this. Okay. So right now, let me just, okay, ano na ko na lang, straight ko na lang dan. Like that. So now, with regards to this one, I just wanted you to be informed that their equivalent, for example, this is how you will calculate that one. The total that is equals the total number of items, you will begin to divide that. No, 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 no. I mean, total number of scores of the student. Yeah. Then you will begin to divide that into the total number of items. So what will be the total number of items accumulated? You will begin to divide that into the total numbers of accumulated scores of the students then. And enclose that in a parenthesis so that it will be separated. And then after calculating them, the two will be multiplied into 50 plus 50, since that is the calculation of our university basis. So since we are not doing or observing the zero base as like the University of the Philippines observed. So in our cases, we're just following the times 50 plus 50. So you that means to say you already do have at least half percent of your scores. So what I mean for half, say for example that um the accumulated scores for this one, um, we can just simply say equals sum of, you can actually calculate your own grades. That's why I am showing you this one so that it will be transparent for everybody. How are we able to calculate your grades? So times sum of all the quizzes, this one. So when we say we are just adding everything, so equals 50 plus 80 plus 100. That is still the same with sum. Okay. So hopefully you were able to get the point. And I know that in your lettera you also do have that one. Now, here then, how are we able to calculate using this one? So we will begin to do it. So the total number of, put that in an open parenthesis, and total number sum of the total number of scores of the student. So highlight mo lang na siya, and then um you will be going to divide it into the total number of items. The total number of items is 230. So after that one, you have to multiply that into times 50 plus 50. So therefore, you already do have 50 equivalent over 100. So before palangdaan, before the calculation, you already do have at least half score, half percentage. Now, quiz, I mean activity, so that I can show you how I did your class standing for activity. Suppose that you do have activity 1, activity 2, then, sorry, let me make it ano na lang, like this. so that we can just, for the spaces. Now, for the activity number, for the activity, for example, you'd have two activities only. And let's try to get the activity equivalent. And after calculating the activity equivalent, you also do have to calculate the class standing equivalent. So the class standing is the accumulated score already. So we'll see that later on, okay? Um, or let me just say class standing CS equivalent na lang. It will be easy. Now, pertains to that one. So suppose that in your first activity, we only do have 25 points, and your second activity still equates to it could be 50 points. So the same thing, the same procedure that we're just dealing with the calculation of the total so that we will know the total items. So the total items of your activities is 75. So how will you do it? Equals the same process, sum of the total scores of the students, and then divided by into the 75 that you do have. And the same procedure times 50 plus 50, and you do have the 50 points still already. So that is really good because you already do have the balance. And for the class standing, this is how we will deal with the class standing. As what I have mentioned, this is 40%. And having we're actually having the 35 no 25% of the 25% of the quiz and your 15% of the activities. So be mindful in terms of that. So CS or we can say CS percentage na lang 40%, correct? Is 40%. Now, in terms of that, how did I calculated your grades? So I enclose that into parentheses only and click the activity times that into 25% and separate that and add your activity equivalent. So this is 15%. So this is total of your class standing. So you already do have at least half beforehand. So you can't just simply say that I'm I'm actually doing a magic in terms of your grades. No, I'm not doing anything at all. Now that is for the class standing. So we'll just perform later on this course. Afterwards, your midterm exam, exam, for example, for the prelim, midterm, say for example, let's try to see that. So this is for prelim exam. So, and then after that one, prelim equivalent. And then the equivalent for that is 40%. Okay. Now, how can we do it? The same procedures. You have to observe the same procedures for this one. Okay. Now, with regards to your exam, say for example, we do have 200 items. So that is the total number of items that we do have. So in your prelim exam, your score will be divided into the 200 and then times 50 and plus 50. That's how we will calculate it. And it will be multiplied into 40%. 40%. So this is the accumulated percentage here. So we will just run through later on if we do have already the records. Now, for the project, say for example, we do have first checking of your research paper. Okay. And second checking. And then they, for example, first and second checking only per term. Now, in each checking, 80, for example, then 100 per second. So how can we do it? The same thing. For the project, you will begin to deal with the project, total, project equivalent. And then afterwards, this is set to 20%. Okay. Now, afterwards, you will calculate the sum of the total score of your project. This is how it works. And that should be 180. Okay. There you have it. The same procedures, sum of your project. And then divided by 180. And then times 50 plus 50. So there you have it. You will begin to multiply this into 20% for the percentage, for example. And that should be half already. And there you go. This is how it works. Now we already do have the term grades. I mean the three sets. So how can we do it? For example, this is for the prelim term. For the prelim term, we will accumulate all of the percentage for the class standing and for the exam and for the project equivalent. So how can we do it? Equals sum of all those percentages that you do have right there. So the percentage of class standing, percentage of the exam, and percentage of the project. So it will be as like this. So beforehand, you already do have 50 flat of grades. This is your term grade here, prelim grade already, okay? So that's how we are working your grades actually, if you know how it works. Be mindful in terms of this. Now, regarding, say for example, ang si Maria sa first quiz, since that is 50 items, may 30. And Mercedes achieved 25, achieved 10, 0 because absent, then 45. Say for example like that. For quiz, 80 items, so we can say at least half, 40. For Mercedes, we're able to achieve highest score, 78. Labubu achieved for we can say 30. And we can say here 50. And then here nag-absent si Bongga, 0. Now for the quiz 3, 100 items. Say for example, highest 96. And we can say here at least half, 50. And here we can say 63. And this is just a sample scores are all class. Excuse me. As you can see, all of your grades here will always update and update up until such time it will be filled out here. Now for Lababa, we can say 22. And here then bumawi siya, so it will become 78, for example. So in here, in their equivalent, they do have 86, may ara 83, 72, and 66, and 77. So Although class, be mindful nga miskan if you are having a complete quizzes, that's not assured that you will really pass the accumulated score for that, because it will still matter in your performance. Don't ask that, sir, why I'm actually failed. The question is, how's your score? So make sure to really assess your performance. That's why I'm creating this one, because I just wanted to be transparent in how I calculated your scores. Because I don't wanted you to assume that I will pass because all of the requirements I do have actually I've created everything. So make sure that you are doing the best and also practice with honesty and integrity in terms of your activities and quizzes. No cheating or whatsoever. Now, activities. Say for example, over 25, you have 20, you have 10, you have say for example, the AI siya, so 5 lang, and we can say 16, we can say 23. And here then over 50, 40, 40, 30, 24, 32, 30, 42 rather, 37, and 28. So if if passing, 90, 73, 81, 85, 84. So see how it is really impactful. And for the accumulated percentages, 35, 32, 30, 29, 32. So see how it is automated. It is really automatic. Now for the prelim exam, say for example, you were not able to pass here. Suppose the passing score is 100. So magpasar ka na iya 75 here. So wala pa gani project. So C 75 na iya prelim grade. And for Mercedes, for example, he is having a bad time in terms of my examination. So pwede siya 67. So wala ka pasar. Diba? Butang taman for Labubu, 145. And for Lababa, 180 because alam puan. And for Bongga, we can say nag-cheat sa. So, ang iya score supposedly is 120. The 50% off sa 120, so it will become 60. So, amo na iya score. Kay ma-deduction man pa 50%, diba? And for first checking of your project sa research paper, for 80 scores, you only do have first checking. So suppose that si Maria is group with Mercedes. They are actually group. Ang leader nila si Maria. Suppose that you do have scores 56 and 56. Now, the assessment of Maria kay Mercedes, since wala gabulig si Mercedes, is 30, no, we do have 100%. I'm so sorry. We do have 100%, 75%, we have 50%, and we have 25%. So how can we, let's try to put percentage here. Para hapos. All right, it's okay. Hindi na lang. Now, how can we calculate that one? For example, from 56, tagaan ka ni Maria sang 75% only. So how can we calculate that? 56 divided by, i-divide mo na siya into 4. Pila? So 14. 14 times 3 because that is 75, right? So, no. Plus 14 times 3. Now, 42. So this is your score. It will be updated here, 42. Then, si Labubu, may ara siya score abi na 65. May ara siya score na 40 or here 30, the worst. And for the second activity, wala niya gintadlong, gin AI ya. So, it could be 50. Pwede man diri 52, 75, 84, and 35. So see, their accumulated scores. How ang ila scores like 79, 76, 89, 84, 68, and accumulated grades is 81. So because 35 and 30 and 16. So that is total of 81. Nagpasar siya. Here 74. So hindi kini siya magpasar. And 83, 84, and 71, hindi gina sila magpasar. Now, if amo na ang imo nga grades for prelim, the same calculation, the same procedures for midterm and final. And how? For example, paano naman ang SEM grade? So, say for example, this is your midterm grade. Assuming lang ha, and you do have already the grades of per term, so that you will really know how that I come up with your grades. Um, Now, for the semestral grades, say for example, ang imo midterm grade, nagpasar siya, nag-85, and here, butang ka din, nag-78, and siya, nag-90, butang ka din na yan, nag-95, and here, nag-76. Kaloy-an, nagpasar siya. Butang ka man here, nagtaas siya, and nagtaas siya di, and nagtaas man siya di. Um, Nagtaas sa into 95. And here nagmubo siya abi 82. And for prelim grade, final grade of this person, kay Bongga, for example, nagpasar into 80. So let's try to see if magpasar ni sila. Or butang talang si Mercedes nagbalda sa final term into 73. Ana na lang. Now, semestral grades, we will calculate that one. Since per term may ara kita accumulated score, it must be, let me just work on it because lapit na ang time ta matapos. Okay, insert lang ta. So, be mindful that in each term, 30% ang imo nga prelim term. Final term, midterm term is 30%. And final term is 40%. Now, how? Equal sign, prelim grade times to 30%. And, amon lang na siya. And the same for midterm term times to 30%. Amo lang siya. And for final term, will be times 40%. So, we can just drag it down. Now, for the accumulated semestral grades, it will be the sum of all the percentages that you have accumulated percentage per term. Now, prelim, midterm, and final. So 85 and so on and so forth. So 85, nagpasar, 75, pasar, lababa, pasar, 87, 76. So say for example, sa final grades ni Bongga, nag-ano siya liwat, 70. So it will become 72. So make sure to really be mindful in terms of your grades class because one missed activities will really impact your score. Say for example, sang project mo, wala kaya nakasubmit project for first checking. So it will be really be impactful. Here naman sa second activity, so 'di ba, paano siya mag-adjust. So really make sure to really understand and check you on your scores there. You can calculate that in your own Microsoft Excel whatsoever, and then you will really know everything then. So I have returned everything, your papers and so on. Being transparent in terms of that. And if you have a question, you can just see me anytime in my office. Thank you so much and have a great day then. Hopefully everything is being answered here and you were able to understand how we're able to calculate your grades. Thank you, everybody.